The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. It's been a while since we've done a live webinar, so happy that you guys have registered and attended. My name is Tony Butler. I'm the Life Sales Director here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services, and want to thank you again for taking time out this Monday morning to listen to our webinar regarding NGL. Today's webinar, we have John Entingh, who is one of our top producers. We're going to be talking about National Guardian Life. He's going to be joining us here in just a little bit. So before he joins, would like to go over a couple of housekeeping items with you guys real quick. Okay, so first and foremost, here at IAMS, we do appreciate agents that submit business to us, and we know that a lot of the business that you do submit comes on a referral basis. So we would like to thank you for any business that you sent to us as far as getting agents appointed with Dime. So we do have a producer referral program. So when you refer a agent to us and they get appointed with any of the carriers that we work with, we do provide you with a $50 bonus for those contracts that they do get appointed with. Now, any business that those agents do submit, any subsequent business that they submit, we do provide you with 20 basis points bonus on that as well. That doesn't take away from what they're getting paid on the business. It's just our way of saying thank you for sending that referral over to us. If you have any questions regarding the referral bonus program, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Next, we also have a new Producers Builders program for agents, and these are for agents within the first 100. Hey, John, you there?
I am, Tony. Thank you.
Sure.
You're having difficulties.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go right ahead with what you're doing.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So our new producer builders, we've got 3 different levels, and for a new producer, we're talking about someone that just recently got appointed. This is within the first 180 days. We have a $100,000 level where if you produce $100,000 in paid premium, we offer either a $750 cash bonus, a 2-year website, producer website, or an iPad. If you want to bypass that $100,000 level and shoot for the $300,000 level, we do offer you either a Social Security program with a 3,000 piece mailing, $2,000 in marketing reimbursement, or a $1,500 Visa gift card. If you think you're going to write a ton of business, which we always like to hear, we're not going to turn any business away, definitely. You can shoot for the $500,000 level, and with that, you can either get a 5,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching with Matt Gill, who is one of our top producers, or you can get a 4,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching with Dave Pemper, who is also one of our top producers. Or you can bypass all that and get the Ritz-Carlton travel package, kind of treat yourself to a nice vacation for submitting so much business. Next, here at IAMS, we do have back office support available for you. We like to say that we want you to work smarter, not harder. So a couple of key things that we provide for you as an agent with IAMS is paperless contracting. So if you've ever gotten contracted with a carrier, you know that there are quite a bit of pieces of paper that you need to fill out and submit. We provide you with the ability to go paperless, and any appointment request that you submit, anything subsequent to that, we can submit that for you. We also provide business building resource tools. We've got life and annuity quotes that we can do for you, and top sales expertise and coaching. So again, we want to be your back office support. So if you have any questions about what we do provide on the back office side, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Next, we do have a creative marketing solutions team. I would like to say that team is second to none and providing you with various solutions, whether it be turnkey, agency solutions, or digital solutions. What that means is that team can help you out for customized printing professional written handouts, flyers, or newsletters. As regards to agency solutions, if you're looking to redesign your logo or you want a logo design for your business, business cards or brochures, they can help with that. If you're looking to get in the digital marketing space, they can assist you with personal website, digital marketing strategies. They can provide you with social media consulting. So if any of this does interest you, I really encourage you to give us a call and ask for our creative marketing solutions team. Someone would be more than happy to walk you through what they can do for you. Next, our website. It is a 24/7 website. Our website provides you with the ability to access product information as far as carrier information. From a life insurance perspective, we do have a quoting engine that allows you to run, whether it be term quote comparisons or universal life quote comparisons. We do have an annuity and long-term care grid that's available for you. You can also access forms online. Our website is at www.iamsinc.com. If you have any questions regarding navigating through the website, especially if you're a life agent and you're looking to run term quotes or universal life quotes on your own, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I would love to walk you through that process. We also provide for you a retirement analyzer. Marcus Solar is one of our annuity sales directors, and he's kind of our subject matter expert in regards to the retirement analyzer. What that retirement analyzer does for you as an agent is allows you to answer questions from your clients, such as, can I continue my present standard of living into my retirement years? When can I retire without running out of money? How would it affect my family if I were to die prematurely? Now, we do offer this on a 30-day free trial basis. Going forward, there is a cost. However, if you do $250,000 in production, whether it be for annuity or single premium life, we do offer this analyzer for you for free. So if you have any questions regarding the retirement analyzer, please feel free to either give me a call or reach out to Mark. He's more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. We also have an IAMS Wealth Management team. Our IAMS Wealth Management team is made up of Charles Jr., Mike Hansen, and Joan Wallace. And the Wealth Management team takes things to the next level for you as an agent. If you're working with higher net worth clients with more investment assets, this is a team that you want to talk to. They can help with you as far as increasing your revenue, improving your client retention, and strengthen client relationships. So if you have an interest in the IAMS Wealth Management team and you have questions on that, I've got a polling question that I want to send out. If you can answer that polling question, we'll make sure to get some additional information out to you. So I'm going to leave this up for a few moments because I see that there are some people that are interested in getting additional information. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this polling question out. Next, our Life and Annuity Academy. If you're familiar with us, you know that we do a Life and Annuity Academy. We try to do one of these once a quarter. It's a 2-day training. This is something that we pay for, so we pay for your travel, your lodging, and your food. And what this Life and Annuity Academy does is it's a way for us to work with you as agents, talk about sales ideas and concepts to help grow your business. We do work with 4 of our top producers. We provide different sales ideas and strategies, as I spoke about before. We talk about different wealth transfer tools. A lot of times we do partner with some of our top carriers. They do provide some product information as well as some sales ideas and concepts for you. If you're interested in regards to our Life and Annuity Academy, I do have a polling question on that. Don't have information on when the next one is going to be. Last conversation, I believe, was going to be sometime early spring. But once we do get a time and a location for that, for those of you that are interested in the Life Annuity Academy, we'll definitely get that information out to you. So I'll keep this polling question up for a little bit. In the meantime, if you do have questions regarding the Life and Annuity Academy, feel free to give me a call. All right, I'll close this one out. Next, we've got trips. Got a few trips scheduled for 2020 and 2021. The first is the IAMS Entingh 2020 Marketing Summit. Invitational period is July 1st through June 30th of 2020. It's going to be August 26th through the 29th in 2020, and that's going to be, let me go back here, sorry about that. Let's go back here. If it's going to let me go back. There we go. Okay, so that summit's going to be on the shores of Santa Maria. Again, invitational period qualification is going to be July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2020. For qualification details, please give us a call. Be more than happy to provide you with additional information on that. The next, we have the IAMS Marketing Summit that's going to be in 2021. That's going to be March 7th through the 11th. Of 2021. Qualification periods are July 1st of 2019 through December 31st of 2020. Qualification requirements are going to be 3.5 million points. So if you have any questions regarding qualifications and where you're at as far as qualifying for this trip, please give us a call. And then we also have the Shores of Serenity. That's the IAMS Elite Summit in 2021. That's going to be March 11th through the 14th of 2021. Qualification periods, same time frame, July 1st of 2019 through December 31st of 2020. Minimum qualification periods are going to be 6.5 million points. If you achieve the 8.5 million points, you do qualify for both trips. Any additional details that you'd like on that, please don't hesitate to give us a call. And with that, John, you still there?
I am here. Good morning.
All right. I am going to change this over to you as the presenter.
And you let me know what you see.
All right. Okay. I've got you up there.
Alrighty. Let's get this. Show my screen. There we go. Good to go?
Good to go.
Perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. And Tony, thank you and IAMS for having me on this morning. I certainly appreciate it. It's a busy time here in Columbus as we're wrapping up business for the year and actually looking forward to Christmas and a small break in between. And I'm excited to talk to everybody that's on the webinar today and talk to you about the NGL Funeral Trust funding. It's a big opportunity for new and existing clients in your business. And I like to start out by saying I'm not a home office guy. I'm in the field every day. I have a couple offices here in the Columbus area. So I'm constantly working with new and existing clients and always talking about this particular product to them. And I brought this to IAMS probably 6 years ago, and we've worked together to get agents engaged in it, and we've been really successful with the results. So anytime I get to share it, I like to let you know up front, I'm not giving you a home office perspective. I'm giving you a perspective from a guy that's out every day in the field working just like you are. So I'm having some difficulty here. Can you still hear me on there, Tony?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. We got phones ringing and trying to advance the slide. There we go. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the opportunity with this product. We'll talk about the trust that we use to hold the funding of the product. We'll talk about the life insurance that we use. I'll give you some presentation ideas and tools, and then we'll talk about the company itself, National Guardian Life, and how they've been a great partner for me and my business to help me move forward. The opportunity is big. I'm big on opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in our business out there, but if you don't act on it, you're never really going to know what that can bring to your practice. And that's what happened to me about 14 years ago. I had a mentor in this business. I didn't know anything about National Guardian Life. And he came to me and he said, hey, you know, you really need to look at this product and start talking to your clients about it. It can add an additional 40 to 60,000 a year in income, or much more depending on, you know, how much you're talking about it and who you can help out with it. So for me, anytime I'm presented an opportunity, I'm at least going to give it a try. Whether it works or it doesn't work, I'm going to find out. And in this case, it worked quite well, and we continue to this day to use it in our practice. As we all know, we're in the planning business, and things just don't happen on their own. That's what we get paid to do. We get paid to help clients consider what their options are, to put a plan in place for them, and then to show them where they're going to get the financial means to take care of the problem that we're presenting to them. So funeral and final expenses aren't going to be any different. Somebody's going to need to determine the services and pay the bill, and that question is going to become who's going to do it and when are they going to do it. So there's a couple options here. It can be the deceased prior to their death. In other words, that means getting their affairs in order, and you do this by doing the planning that's required to get everything in place for when you pass away. Or it can be left up to the survivors afterwards. And this is a personal story of mine. I'm the youngest of 5 children. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old. I wasn't really close with my father, but I've always been the entrepreneur of the family. So anytime anything goes south in the family, my phone usually rings, and that's exactly what happened to me on January 21st of 2011. I got a call from my siblings that my dad had passed away. And what happened the next day was I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office at a funeral home, and he was asking me questions like, what was your dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the military? Who are his pallbearers? What's his favorite flower? And I didn't have the answer to any of these questions because my dad and I were never close enough to have that conversation. But what it did make me realize is that all of these clients that I've been helping over the years and that I've been putting National Guardian Life in place for them, that their families aren't going through that. Because as you're going to see as we move through this, when we do this plan, we're giving them everything they need to make it the easiest on the survivors when somebody passes away. So on that note, National Guardian Life offers a couple different choices. The funeral home is you can go plan and pay for the funeral. That's called pre-need. You may hear clients say, you know, I went down and prepaid my funeral at the funeral home. There's good and bad about doing that. Or you can have them pay for the anticipated expenses. So in other words, lead them down the road that, hey, you are going to pass away someday. There is going to be money needed to take care of your final expenses. Let me show you the best way to put that in place and protect that money for you, not only today, but in the long run. So what we talk to them about next, and we always ask them the question, is how much do they think a traditional funeral cost? And this is really where you have to listen carefully. Because they're going to give you all kinds of answers, and what you need to do is just kind of be their guide and tell them that the typical cost of a burial and funeral services right now is about $15,000. We've had clients who we ask them that when they settle an NGL claim, we'll ask that survivor or that family, hey, what was your funeral cost? And we hear anything from $12,000 all the way up to $18,000, depending on what type of funeral that they're having. So when you say that to them, now you're planting into their mind that, hey, I at least know I've got to put away somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 if I want to put this plan in place. So the opportunity for you as an advisor is huge. They did a national survey. 72% of the people thought it was a good idea to pre-plan, but 64% had not taken any steps to do so. And we always say that we think the reason for that is, I don't think a husband and wife wake up in the morning and it's a beautiful sunny day and the husband rolls over at the wife and says, hey, you know what? Why don't we go down and pick out our caskets today? And the reason for that is the human mind can only contemplate its own demise for about 11 to 15 seconds. And then it just quits thinking about it because it's not a natural thought. And here's the one thing that I do know, your clients aren't any different than the ones that I'm working with here in the Ohio area. I'm sure you're in the retirement market if you're on this call, so you're in the right marketplace to be presenting this idea to your clients. And again, they think it's a good idea. They're just looking for somebody to motivate them to get it into place. This market is really huge. Over the next 20 years, 80 million people are going to file for Social Security benefits. To me, that's prospects. I mean, when you have that many people that are filing for Social Security benefits, they understand they don't have as long of a lifetime as they did 20 years earlier. And so this is a great topic of planning. And if you're in this business and you plan on being in it for a while, the real exciting part is that by 2025, there's going to be twice as many seniors as there are today. So if you could learn a product like this, if you could implement a product like this into your practice, it's going to serve you well, not only today, but well into the future as the numbers would support for us. So when we're talking to a client about this product, we're going to point some stats out to them that, hey, 69% of all Americans older than 65 are going to need nursing care. And the national average cost of long-term care is anywhere between $82,000 to $93,000 a year. And that's growing at about 4% a year in cost. And the reason that we tell them that is 92% of all Americans have no type of long-term care protection to protect all the assets that they've worked hard for and built over a lifetime. And so what we point out to them is that, if you don't have that protection and you go into a long-term care situation, you're going to probably at some point run out of money and need to qualify for Medicaid. And this program will protect that money from a Medicaid spend down. So we'll get into that a little bit more. I'll just tell you how it all will fit together for you. We're just taking financial protection of life insurance and we're using the advantage of an irrevocable funeral trust. So we're going to tell that client, hey, let's plan ahead. Let's set that money aside permanently for your final expenses. And then we're going to use the trust to hold the funds, and we're effectively spending down your assets, and this could help prevent them from being counted as excess money during Medicaid consideration. So it works hand in hand with protecting money from a nursing home, and that's really how you grab people's attention. No one wants to lose their life savings that they've worked so hard to build. So we'll talk about the trusts themselves that are offered by National Guardian Life and the benefits of planning with the trust. Once they set the program up and their money is in the trust, it's going to protect that money from creditors. The benefits are going to be 100% income tax free when they pay out at death. The funds are available immediately. This is a huge point when you have to go in and plan at a funeral home. We're going to have the money to the funeral home within a 48-hour period, and we do not need a death certificate to get that done. The trusts are going to be free, so there's no cost from National Guardian Life for the trust that's used to hold the assets. And just to kind of put that in comparison for you, I work with an elder law attorney down the street from my office. He refers people over to us. And if you wanted to go in there and have him do an irrevocable trust and do a big plan for you, he'll do that for you. You just need to write him a $7,500 check at the initial appointment, and then whatever the fees go up from there to get the job done, then that's what they'll be. That average cost is going to be about $15,000 to get that done. Here we can offer them, it's not as much protection as the attorney, but it does give them protection of assets, and it doesn't cost them anything to get it done. Everybody's going to qualify for that trust assignment. We're going to use the death proceeds to pay the funeral expenses. And here's a real important thing. The funds are totally portable. Why is that important? Excuse me. I'm a financial advisor. I have a lot of clients who have been with me for years. Their kids now are older. Their kids are taking jobs in different states. And some of my clients have decided to follow the kids. Well, I don't know if they're following the kids so much, but they want to follow those grandkids. And so they're moving. Well, if you prepay for a funeral at a funeral home here in Columbus, and you decide that you're going to have the remainder of your life in Florida with your family, that could be a problem when you pass away. But if you put the funds into the National Guardian Life Plan, it doesn't matter where you pass away in the United States, those funds are going to be accepted by any funeral home. So I'll let you just read this for a second. I'm not going to go through every box with you, but if you look across the top, everything that we're trying to protect the client from, if you look at the bottom, the irrevocable funeral trust is the only thing that we're going to get a yes in every category. So it is really important stuff. If you can explain it to your client and break it down into layman's terms for them, we found that you can have a lot of success by using this product in your practice. So here's how it works. I'll walk you through this. And this is actually, once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, there's a PowerPoint presentation. If you use your iPad in appointments, it's very simple, but it has this graphic so that you can share it with the client. But how the trust works is we're going to find the money. We're going to talk to them about protecting that money and using it to pay ahead for their funeral cost. We're going to have them buy, it's basically a single premium life insurance policy, but because we don't want any cash value or ownership from the client, they're not going to get a big bump up in death benefits. So if you understand single premium life with a traditional single premium life, if we gave the company $15,000, they may give us $25,000 of death benefit and cash value. Well, with this one, if you put $15,000 in, you're going to probably start with, $15,500 of death benefit, and then that death benefit is going to grow with an interest rate that's assigned to the contract, and then that money, when it pays out, will come out 100% tax-free. So once the policy's issued, 45 days later, it's put into the irrevocable funeral trust. Now, that word irrevocable is important. Any client we do business with, we tell them, this is an irrevocable funeral trust. The money is not coming out till you die. Do not call me and ask me to borrow against it. Do not call me and ask me to cash it in to get money out of it. You cannot do that. You are relinquishing ownership to the trust with the promise that the trust will pay that money out when you pass away. So how that process works is when we have a client pass away, usually that client's relative is going to call our office. Hey, I know Joe Jones worked with you. He has a National Guardian Life policy. We're going to ask them what funeral home they're going to. They're going to tell us. We're going to call National Guardian Life. We're going to call the funeral home. We're going to get the fax number from the funeral home. When we call National Guardian Life and tell them the policy number, we're going to give them the fax number for the contact at the funeral home. At that point, we are out of it. And within 48 hours, that fax is going to move back and forth between the funeral home and NGL, and those funds are going to be at the funeral home. Now, when we're using the funeral trust, if there's any money left over, it doesn't get kept by the funeral home. It comes back to the estate of the insured. And the reason for that is because we're protecting it from a Medicaid spend down situation, and the client cannot have any incidents of ownership, then that whatever's left has to be paid back to the estate of the insured. So there's two different trusts with National Guardian Life. We have the Funeral Expense Trust. I'll show you, I see we have a lot of people on here today, so I'll show you a grid of your state here in just a moment. But I'll talk about Ohio for a moment. In Ohio, we're allowed to put up to $15,000 into a funeral expense trust. That gives us the ability to exclude that money immediately from Medicaid and SSI. And so I have an attorney, like I said, that refers me clients, and he's always in a big hurry. So if he called me today and said, hey, I have a couple clients here, we're going to file for Medicaid on January 1st. We're going to start the process. John, can I send them over to you and you do $15,000 each on them in the funeral expense trust so that we can get the $30,000 off the table immediately? We can do that for them, and it will protect that money immediately as soon as it gets put into the plan. Then again, the trusts are going to pay the funeral costs when that client passes away, with the balance going to the estate of the insured. They also have the NGL Estate Planning Trust. The difference in this is you can put up to $100,000 in this plan, but the ability to exclude it from Medicaid is after a 5-year look-back period. So they put the money in there, it's in there for 5 years. After the 5th year, if they get sick and go into a nursing home, the money that they have in the estate planning trust is going to be 100% protected from a nursing home. And then the real advantage to this one is any excess funds are going to be returned to a designated beneficiary of the insured's estate. So Tony had mentioned to you that IAMS has their agent academies where they invite you in to hear speakers. I speak at the academy, and the biggest question that I get from agents when I go through this is, John, which trust do I use and when do I use it? So I'll break that down for you. The funeral expense trust is great for crisis planning. Like I explained to you about the attorney down the street. He's always in a hurry. If he called me today, I could get money put away for that client and protect it from Medicaid immediately. Maybe you have clients who have some money and they're paying their way through maybe a spouse is in a nursing home right now, or they're receiving home health care and they're blowing through their assets, and they're saying that, gee, if this keeps up, we're going to have to apply for Medicaid within 5 years because we're going to be out of money. Well, if you're going to be out of money, why give it to the nursing home? If you're going to be out of money, you're going to have to apply for Medicaid. Let's get some of that money protected and put back for your final expenses. And then I do a lot of public seminars and in-house seminars, and we always bring this up to a client because a lot of times they're perfectly healthy, and they just really want to know that this is taken care of for them, that the funeral expenses are done, and they just want assurance that that money's protected now and for the future. Well, with the estate planning trust, it's a little different issue. Medicaid's a non-issue. I love this story. It's a couple teachers that I work with. They're double dippers on their pensions. Now, we've been through the 5-year period now, but they told me, 6 years ago that, John, we're never buying long-term care insurance. If we have to blow through our assets, then that's what'll be done. But what we would like to do is set back $100,000 on each one of us into this plan so that we know if everything goes to heck in a handbasket and we lose all of our other assets, that our kids are at least going to get this money that is protected from the nursing home after 5 years. Again, we just finished that 5-year period up with them, so all that money plus their growth is going to pay out 100% income tax free and can never be taken from by a nursing home. And that's the real opportunity. That's why we always talk to clients about protecting money from a nursing home, because this fits hand in hand with that. So the product itself that we use to fund this is called the NGL Asset Guard. I'm going to give you the product details on it. It's basically a fixed rate product. We're going to put the $15,000 in. They're going to give us an interest rate on that money, and that money is going to continue to grow until the time the client passes away. So when we look at the individual states here, I don't know where you're from, but if you look on there, you can see Ohio, we're $15,000 for the funeral trust and $100,000 for the estate planning trust. If you live in a state where you're looking at the funeral trust amount, and I'll just use Nevada as an example, you can see that it's not even available. It's not available in Florida either because of their guidelines and rules. So what we'll tell agents from those states is, well, yeah, you can't do the funeral expense trust and you can't protect the money immediately. That's just a problem we can't solve. It's not available. But you could still say to the client, hey, let's put $15,000 into the estate planning trust and start the clock ticking so that we get through the 5-year period, and then you can still use that money for your final expenses. If there is anything left over that doesn't need to be spent at the funeral home, then it will go back to your beneficiary. So don't get caught up if you have low limits on the funeral trust or you can't use it at all. You can still pivot over, use the estate planning trust for their funeral planning, and accomplish the same thing for the client. They'll just have that 5-year look back. So here's all the expenses that are covered when we use the trust to pay for our final expenses. As you can see on there, it's going to cover just about everything that we would possibly need to have a quality funeral for a client. So today I'm just going to talk to you about the single pay. That is all we use here at Entingh Financial Services is the single pay. National Guardian Life, January 1st, is having some changes to their product due to the low interest rate environment. So there's going to be a minimum face amount now on the single pay of $2,500. Their growth rate is going to be 0.5%. So it used to, we could pick a growth rate for them up to 2.25. Now it's 0.5%. I've already spoke to one agent and he said, oh my gosh, they're only going to get 0.5%. And what I tried to explain to him is, well, now we just present the product a little bit differently. We tell them it's not about how much growth we get in this product. It's about protecting the money from a nursing home spend down. So you can put the money in the bank and maybe they'll pay you 2.5%, but if you go into a nursing home situation, you're going to have to spend it all at the nursing home. So now we're focusing on growth, or not growth, but protection with this product. We'll still do a bunch of plans with it because it's really just us pivoting and now talking more about the protection than the growth rate. With the NGL estate planning trust, it's going to be a 1% growth rate. Again, it's about protection of money. It's not about how big can we get the money. So only one health question on the application. Everybody's going to qualify for it. You can write it from age 0 to 99, so a big marketplace for the product. And there's only one question. If your client answers no, it's a standard issue. If they answered yes, it's a guaranteed issue, but you didn't spin your wheels and find out that, you know, they didn't get approved and you spent all your time and didn't get paid for your work. You're always going to get the contract issued with National Guardian Life. So the money's going to increase daily with simple growth. Again, all single pay, which is all we use here, is going to be immediate full death benefit. So that's a good plus for the program, and it couldn't be easier to do. Literally 2 pieces of paper and your state replacement disclosure, and you're done with the application. So I want to put that in perspective for you. I wrote my first annuity application back in 1993 in a dry cleaner in Marion, Ohio, and the guy gave me a $25,000 check. And 2 amazing things that day happened to me. Number one, I couldn't believe anybody would push a $25,000 check across the table to me because I'd never written an annuity. And number 2, my application was 3 pages long, and the last page was the receipt that I was leaving them for the transaction. Now, if you compare that today, life insurance, health insurance, annuity applications, even managed money applications, it's a lot of paperwork. but they've simplified it here. So if you don't like paperwork, you will love doing business with National Guardian Life. They've simplified the process for us. So here's what the top page of the application looks like, the top half. You can see it's pretty basic. We're getting the client's information, and then we're going to come down there to that health question. And if you look at the health question, I'll give you a second just to peruse through it, but it's a yes or no question. Again, it's not going to mean they're not getting the coverage. It's just going to mean it's either going to be a standard or a guaranteed issue. And the real thing you'll see in that is your commission grid. You really won't see that big of a difference to the client as far as benefit. There's the bottom of it. They're just going to sign off. You're going to sign off, put your agent number on there so we can get you paid. This is a receipt. If you leave cash with them, you can leave them this to show that you've picked up the money until you can get back there with the contract. This is the funeral expense trust disclosure, and there is a separate one if you're using the estate planning trust. So once you're licensed, or if you're currently licensed and you're using the product, make sure you have both disclosures so you can use the appropriate one. You're going to get the client to sign at the bottom. Really what they're understanding is that they can't take this money back out once they put it in. It's an irrevocable process. Now, I do have I just did one of these, as a matter of fact, for the attorney. He wanted it. So the typical process, the policy gets issued 45 days later, it is put into that irrevocable trust. But sometimes, like him, if he's trying to qualify somebody on January 1st, he doesn't want to wait 45 days for this to go into the trust. So we can have the client sign it and waive the 45 days, and we will get that policy into the irrevocable trust on the day of issue. Again, this is great for planning purposes if you're trying to protect the money immediately. And then really what it all boils down to is presenting the program to the client, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. You have to be able to explain it to them in layman's terms so that you can get them to move forward in the process. So that being said, when you're presenting to clients, when I sold that first annuity back in 1993, that $25,000 annuity, I had no idea that today, we do a lot of annuity premium. And it's not because I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I've been doing it since 93. So again, I've just gotten better and better and better at what I'm doing. And that's what will happen to you if you can take this process, really understand it, and then be able to present it to your clients in a way that they can understand and buy into. So I have clients ask me, do you have a lead, or not clients, but agents at the academies, well, do you have a lead program? Yeah, I do. It's your existing book of business, because if you've never talked to them about this, you're now going to go out and do an annual review. And if I were doing it, I would start the review of, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, would you agree that the advice I've given you in the past has worked out the way that I promised that it would? Well, if they like you and are doing business with you, the answer to that question is going to be a resounding yes. And then the next thing is, well, you know what, I've learned of something that we have not put in place with our clients that's very important, and I'm going to share it with you today, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get that done for you. So I'm going to presume they're going to do it until they tell me any different. Again, that's the first place I would start, because even if you slip up a little bit on what you're doing because it's new to you, those particular clients are probably going to be pretty easy going and overlook any mistake you might make at the first presentation. So what we're going to do is we're going to present that funeral trust funding. We're going to stress that benefit of planning ahead. We're going to surely tell them that it can be used with any funeral home. And one of the keys and reasons we tell them that is, if you look at funeral homes, and I would challenge you to get on your Google machine and just type in funeral homes that have have misappropriated final expense funds, and you are going to be shocked at what you pull up in your area. And we tell our clients, hey, look, we're putting your money with an insurance company. that promises they're going to be there to pay the funeral home, and we have a track record of that happening with National Guardian Life. That funeral home could go out of business that you like so much. It could be bought by a bigger conglomerate, which is what we see going on in that industry today. You may not care for the people now that have it, or it could just strictly go out of business. So again, if you have it with NGL, it can be used at any funeral home. And then 1035 exchange of life insurance. We do a lot of premium in this side of the business with NGL, and we've trained agents how to look for that. If you have old universal life policies where the client's saying, wow, I can't afford to pay this premium anymore, my cash value is going down every year, and if I don't die in the next 6 years, I'm going to lose everything I put into the plan, well, be the hero. Rescue the cash value, 1035 exchange it over to the plan and say, hey, I know you're giving up the big death benefit, but if you don't die in 6 years, it's all going to be gone. At least you've got this money protected for your final expenses. Or if you come across those old paid up policies, your clients don't understand that if they have $10,000 in cash value and a $12,000 death benefit and they die, they don't get both of those. They get whatever number's bigger. So if I was explaining that to someone, I would say, hey, you've got $10,000 in cash value and $12,000 death benefit. If you die, they're going to pay $12,000. So you really only have $2,000 in death benefit because $10,000 of that's your own money. So doesn't it make more sense to 1035 exchange your $10,000 over where it's 100% protected and know that it's going to be there when you pass away? Because if you don't and you get sick and go in a nursing home, they're going to make you spend the cash value of your life insurance policy, and you could very well end up with nothing. So we see a lot of that business coming in on the 1035 exchange. And then again, we get paid to close the sale, no matter what we're doing, annuities, life insurance, long-term care, but you will give your client that peace of mind of knowing that they've planned ahead and that their funds are protected. So where do you find the money at? If you ask the question, have you prepaid your funeral? And they tell you no, the next question is, well, if you passed away today, where would your family take the funds from tomorrow to take care of your funeral? And then listen to what they say. You're going to hear answers, because I've heard them all. You're going to hear answers like, well, my daughter knows I have a $15,000 CD at the bank that's to be used if I pass away to pay for my funeral. Well, you know, if we leave it in the bank, it's susceptible to be taken by a nursing home. If we move that over to National Guardian Life, and that's your intention anyway to use it for your final expenses, doesn't it make more sense to get it to where it's protected? Maybe you've written a bunch of annuities and you're sitting on a big book of annuities. Well, most annuities, I think the stat is 92% of them pass on to the next generation. So why not take penalty-free withdrawal out of there, pay the taxes on the money coming out, and have them move the money over into National Guardian Life so that portion of the money is protected and there for their final expenses. And then again, cash is just as good, cash is king, but if you ask them the question, you'll find the money to be able to fund the program. So when we're dealing with clients, we love the brochures with National Guardian Life. They're written in layman's terms. We use basically the NGL Funeral Expense Trust and the Estate Planning Trust brochure. And I always like to relate back to this story. I have a couple clients that are about 15 minutes from my office, and when I went over to talk to them, they had some big life policies with a large insurance company that had about $80,000 in cash value, and the death benefit was about $100,000. So I walked them through the whole process, and at the end of it, she looked at me and she said, well, John, you know, we've done annuities with you, and we don't do anything on the first appointment. We like to sleep on it and talk it over. And I told them that you've done business with me because I've written your annuities, and I don't mind anybody taking a moment to reach a decision, but you got to reach that decision while everything's fresh on your mind. So you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call you at 1 o'clock tomorrow to get a yes or no from you, one way or the other. We need to come to a conclusion. And so I said, just read this brochure. I'll call you at 9 o'clock, or I mean at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll make a decision. Well, 9 o'clock the next morning, she called my office and she said, hey, after everything you talked to us about and we read through this brochure, this makes perfect sense. We want to go ahead and just set the appointment with you. So the brochures are very good at putting it in layman's terms and then being able to leave that with the client and something that they can actually read and understand. So I was always taught in the sales process, whether I'm selling an annuity or a National Guardian Life, to leave the client a task, to keep them engaged until I can get back out there with a contract for them. So National Guardian Life offers these for free. You do not have to pay for them. But basically, they're a planning guide. And what it is we will say to our client, I'll tell them the story about my dad, and I'll say, hey, if my dad would have had this, or if I would have never met you, Mr. or Mrs. Client, and you had this, I could take your National Guardian Life policy and this document right here, and I could go into the funeral home, take care of all your final expenses for you without ever meeting you. And so what it is, it's offered by National Guardian Life to leave with the client. They're filling out basic information. You know, I told you with my dad, what's your mother's maiden name? You have to have that when you go in. So all of that information, all the way down to pallbearers, the service time, what's your favorite will, or I'm sorry, what's your favorite flower, your favorite hymn, everything that you would need to know for a funeral is going to be in this document. And we tell them, have it filled out. When we bring your contract back, you'll put your contract with this and you're set as far as your final expenses are concerned. National Guardian Life, you know, this isn't a paid endorsement from them, but I can't tell you what a pleasure of 14 years it's been doing business with them. I've never had one issue with National Guardian Life, and I can't say that about any other insurance carrier, but I can say it about them, and I'll preach it from the mountaintops. They are a great company to partner with and do this plan. They're very well capitalized. They've been around since 1910, and they know what they're doing in this arena. So once you're licensed through IAMS with National Guardian Life, you're going to get access to their website. This website has everything you could possibly want. You can go on, they pay commissions daily. You can go in there and look at your reports. You can pull up the brochures I just showed you. They'll ship them right to your house. You can download the little PowerPoint illustration if you want to use that with your client. And if you just want to learn more about everything, there's training videos in there. Everything you could need to be successful, they have put it into this website. It's one of my favorite. I still reference it for stuff, and I've been doing business with them for 14 years. So I would encourage you, once you're licensed, log in, get in there, get to work, understand the product, and present it to your clients. If you're in an appointment with a client and you have a question, call this 1-800 number down here on the bottom left of the screen. They're just like IAMS. You're not going to wait to talk to a person. They're going to pick that phone up immediately. And even if you're in an appointment, they'll walk you through whatever the question is or concern and help you get the deal done. So why sell the product? I've showed you the stats. Your clients need it. They're thinking about it. They just need someone to push them towards getting it done. Great income opportunity. The trusts are free. The funds are totally portable. They can be used at any funeral home provider. We're putting you with a well-capitalized company that's been around a long time. You're going to give your clients that peace of mind, and it's easy to do. 2 pieces of paper, your state replacement form, and that's it. You're ready to submit the application to National Guardian Life. And if you don't do it, someone else will. You know, we have a lot of agents now that are out there talking about this, and so eventually I'm sure someone's going to mention it to your client, so it might as well be you. Great compensation plan. So if you just had a couple couples each month and you only did $10,000 on each one, a husband and a wife, you're going to pick up $40,000 to your annual bottom line. Here at Entingh Financial Services, we use this, we call this our office expense fund. Our goal every year is to sell enough of this to pay for office expenses for both of our offices. I was always taught to have on my income producing stool for my business, to have more than one leg I have to depend on to produce income. And again, this is a solid place to be able to earn commission, but at the same time, helping your client and doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, which is help them protect those hard-earned assets. So focus on this top left-hand corner here. These commissions are, you're going to see new commission schedule after the first of the year as well. I actually reviewed them. It looks like the commissions may have went up a little bit. But anyway, let's say you went out and saw a 61 to 65-year-old couple. You fully funded the $15,000 on each of them. That's $30,000. Your commission is about $4,000 in that house for doing a review. That's not a bad way to get back out in front of your people, which you should be doing anyway, and have an opportunity to help them with something and getting paid for out there doing your work. So National Guardian Life always has a trip every year. This is the one for 2020. If you're not licensed with them, you're really going to have to get to work to make this trip. But if you, obviously you probably won't make this trip, but if you start learning this and get ready, they'll introduce their next trip next year and you'll be well on your way to qualifying. I love trips. I make all the IAMS trips. One of the reasons I'm a top producer with them is when I was younger in my career and I made the trips, I would always go seek out the top guys that were on the top of the leaderboard that they always publish, because those are the guys that are always willing to talk to you about their business and you can learn from them. So I always encourage that to you. Any conference you make, seek those guys out. They'll be more than happy to tell you what they're doing to be successful. And if you pick up a couple of those things, you can implement them in your practice. So some of the biggest challenges, getting comfortable with the concept. When I sold my first annuity in 1993, it was very new to me. Today I could teach classes on annuities. It's not because I'm smartest guy, it's just repetition. Learning how to present it, stress that benefits of pre-planning. It's a simple question. Have you pre-planned or have you prepaid your funeral? And then keeping it on the top of your mind, every client, every day. Make it a part of your conversation when you're speaking with your clients. So I'm going to tell you a little story here, and we'll make this available to clients or to agents who license with National Guardian Life through insurance agency marketing services. This guide for beneficiaries that I'm going to share for you, I'm going to share my story with why we created it. But about 6 or 7 years ago, I got a call from a daughter from a client that we had who had passed away, and we had about $500,000 of annuity premium with her. And the conversation went like this. The daughter called me and said, "Hey, I wanted to let you know that mom passed away." I said, "Wow, we're really sorry to hear that." You know, we asked them when the funeral was and went through that with them. And then I said, "Hey, you know, once you're through everything, we will need to sit down and talk about your mom's financials, but we're in no hurry for that." And she said, "Oh, John, don't worry about that. We already talked to the guy at the bank yesterday, and he told us he'll handle everything for us. So we're just going to go to the guy at the bank." And I made a promise to myself that that wasn't going to happen to us again, that we wanted at least a fighting chance to get the clients to come back to us. So I created this guide for beneficiaries. And what we used it for is we used it to collect all new data on our clients, because you think your clients tell you everything. I can tell you the majority of them don't share everything with you. This gets everything onto the table. Our successes, we went out and did this guide with our existing client base. Over a 6-month period, we wrote $1.5 million in new annuity premium, $200,000 in traditional single life premium, and $150,000 in National Guardian Life premium. And it was just practice, 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 but that's what we decided to do. So once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, we'll make this available. The creative team will get all of your information on here so that you can take it, get it printed in a nice format, and take it out to your clients. Every time we've taken this to a client, the only thing we've heard from them is, "Oh my gosh, thank you. This is going to help my family so much." So here you can see on the front, right at the top, "For help settling my estate, please call my advisor at Entingh Financial Services." And then at the bottom, it's got all of our contact information, because we want them to call us first, because we don't want them calling the banker. This is a letter that I wrote, and again, you can use the same letter. You'll just implement your information in there, but it's basically telling them how much we appreciate their business, how hard we're going to work for them, and that when someone passes away, we're going to try to help them and save every possible tax, court cost, and fee, helping them get their affairs and finalized. So again, they like this part of the program. Before I go into the financial organizer part, there are other documents in there that go in the organizer that you'll get. It tells them everything in there they need to do, everywhere they need to look for documents. There is letters in there that they can print off to write to the credit card companies, to the pension services, everything that they're going to need to do to finalize things, we've put it in there for them. So I don't have all that on here, but it is part of that document. Here's the financial organizer. Again, we just tell them, hey, we're going to update all of your financial information, and if you'll share everything with us, if we had never met you before, we could take this document and your beneficiary guide, and we could help settle your estate without ever have met you. And so as we go through here, it's really, we're just updating all of their information. We're getting everything from them. One of my favorite stories on this is we had a guy, we got down to IRAs and pensions, and she said to him, hey, you know what? You've still got that old 401k you've been talking about doing something with for years. It was about a $90,000 401k. We wrote all the information down, and again, we ended up getting that 401k that we had worked with this client for 3 or 4 years, and we didn't even know they had it. They'd never shared that information with us. So if you look here at question 8, have you prepaid your funeral? If they tell us yes, then our next question is going to be, do you have any money that you want to see go to your children or a charity that you want to know is protected from a nursing home spend down in the event you get sick? If they tell us yes, we're going to make a note out here. We're not going to launch into a sales presentation, but now we know we've got something to talk to them about and something that we can actually help them with. So again, this is just the rest of the financial organizer. We have a little question or a little notepad on the back to take the notes, and pretty much that is how we do it here at Entingh Financial Services. We don't deviate from it, and the reason we don't deviate from it is it showed us a lot of success in the past. So that's my spiel on it for today. Tony, if you have any questions in there that have come in, I'd certainly be happy to answer them.
Okay, yeah, kind of ran over, but I do want to address a couple of questions here. So give me just a second to get this pulled up of what we had, and we'll go back to that. Hold on just a second here. All right, I'm going to make IAMS a presenter. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, so there is a couple of questions we have. One is, what are the pitfalls for having a term insurance to pay for final expense?
Well, for having term insurance or for paying for final expenses, you know, you're kind of hoping you die before that term runs out, and that's not any way anybody wants to think. So, you know, when you buy term insurance, it's for a term, and if you don't pass away in that period of time, the insurance and the money are both gone.
Okay. All right, I'm not giving it a couple of more seconds to see if I have any other questions here. And it looks like we do not. So what I wanted to do is make sure that, oh, wait a minute. All right, last one. Did I hear it right? When you buy a policy, the insurance company will pay for your revocable policy.
There is no charge for the irrevocable trust. So once you put the money in the policy, you put 15,000 in and it starts at 15.5 and you're getting an interest rate, they're going to move that policy into the irrevocable funeral trust and there is no cost to have that money held by the trust.
Okay. And I think that was it as far as questions are concerned.
Well, Tony, thank you for having me. Merry Christmas to everybody that took their time out of their busy day to attend the webinar. We greatly appreciate it. I'm sure you'll be reaching out to them, Tony, to talk to them if they have any questions. And again, I just appreciate everybody in attendance.
And we appreciate you as well. Each month we do run this, and this is probably one of our most attended webinars that we do, and we get a lot of questions in regards to NGL and the funeral trust. So I just have one more polling question for everyone. If you would like more information regarding NGL, I just launched a polling question. If you can answer that, and I will make sure to get that out to you. And it looks like a lot of people are wanting additional information, so that is always good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this down. I will be following up with those that attended just to ensure that we did get your questions answered and if you do need additional information. So with that, John, thank you again.
Yes,
As
sir.
always,
Thank
it's
you.
greatly appreciated what you do here with us. And everybody have a Merry Christmas.